feeling the features of the face and kind of just envisioning the techniques I'm going to be doing.
My family told me like, oh, you need to trim your mustache.
Because nobody wants to be mean, but I wish more people had bullied me about my eyebrows. I could have fixed it sooner.
If I was closer at that time, I would have fixed it.
Okay, good.
I kind of go back to the brows throughout the whole application.
Really?
The reason I do that is because it depends on how like dramatic the eye makeup is. Like if the eye makeup is super dramatic, then I don't want to go too heavy on the brows. So I kind of just do like a midway point with the brows now, and then go ahead and deepen them up a little bit there.
Okay, so
You want to tell the sisters a little bit about like how long you've been?
A little bit more about. So I started makeup in 2000, so it's gonna be 19 years now.
Oh my god.
How old are you?
My god, that is insane.
That's so cool though. Like just the level of success that you've reached and the fact that you've been doing it for how long now?
Only 3 years.
Yeah.
This is not about me though. Yeah.
In New York, and I got a job at Sephora when I was 17 as a fragrance consultant.
Love that.
And I started doing makeup there. It's where I discovered makeup on the first day of work, and I got obsessed with it, fell in love with it, started researching it. And at this time in the industry, it's very different than it is now.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, it was like really, really hard back then. You could not, there was no social media, there was no way to get noticed. And so I started working retail, and then, you know, I really struggled, I want to say, for the first like 7 or 8 years. And when I say struggle, I mean like barely being able to pay rent, you know, like eating pizza and eating tuna fish, and like, it was hard because you had to assist and set for like 16 or 18 hours a day working with these massive makeup artists, but you know, you'd be doing it for free for the experience.
Absolutely not.
Well, that's how it was. And then, you know, I'd work retail on the side, and then when I eventually stopped retail, I started working like in television news on the weekends, just so I could make, you know, some steady income.
Right.
Started doing my own clients, started working with photographers, and eventually, like I want to say after the 6th year or so, I started doing like celebrities in New York. Some pop singers and some actresses.
How did that happen? Because I feel like that's from like starting at Sephora, just testing and playing it out, to like news.
Yeah, working with a certain hairstylist who would recommend me to the celebrity, you know, that kind of thing. But I also had an agent at that time, so I had an agent since I was 21. But even with an agent, like, you know, you still struggled at that time.
Yeah.
Because to get noticed by a celebrity, there was just no way. Like nowadays, you can just write them on social media,
Right.
Twitter or Instagram.
Which is so cool.
And that's how they discover you nowadays too. But back then, there was just no way at all. You know, the industry has definitely changed.
You mentioned how the industry has like changed a lot when it comes to like artists and now like the emergence of social media, and there's no denying that you were like one of the first to really pioneer like makeup on social media. You have a huge following on Instagram, and like your work is major inspiration to social media has changed the makeup community for the better, and in what ways do you think it's like affected it?
It's interesting. I mean, I feel like Instagram is amazing, number one. I feel like it's changed the industry for the better, for me definitely, and for many others as well. It's provided so many more opportunities that we never would have had as makeup artists. So many more like types of jobs that we can do, and you know, just the fact that you could build a following, you could share your work and have control over it. You know, Instagram is like a personal.
100%.
Yeah, and for me, I've always been sort of supportive of influencers and YouTubers. For one, because I know the amount of work that goes into what you guys do. I think a lot of people don't realize, you know, in the older generation in particular, and even some of the newer generation, they don't realize the amount of work that goes into doing YouTube and creating content. And, you know, it's really a full-time job. And I think someone like you in particular, who I really like admire when it comes to work ethic. I don't look at that as like, you know, I look at that as like, holy crap, that's amazing. Like, it's inspiring, you know what I mean? The work is there, you know, to back it up, because you work nonstop. Even on your days off, I feel like you're plotting and planning and thinking of your next video. You know, you're entertained to watch on social media, and I think that's really hard. It's a hard job, and people don't realize like how much goes into it. And my other thing about it is that because the industry has changed, right? So there's all these kind of new opportunities for these young artists that are coming up. I also look at that as, just because I had to struggle for like almost 10 years in the beginning of my career, and now these opportunities came their way and they're 18 and 19, I'm not gonna tell them to.
For 3 years now, but obviously CoverGirl like was a major pivotal moment in boys in beauty, I feel like, because it really brought it to like mainstream makeup artists, like, oh, influencers are taking our jobs. Like, when have you ever seen me on set like doing makeup for a campaign, unless it's my own? Ever.
Yeah.
Like it's two totally different things, and I don't understand why there's so much hatred between people literally within the same industry that are just performing different tasks. I mind my own business, I'm in my own studio making content for like a younger demographic, and working makeup artists are shoots and clienteling campaigns.
And
It's
sometimes,
two
like,
different
sometimes
things.
our worlds collide, you know, like, so
Right.
celebrity makeup artists, like, when they do Oscars or Grammys, you know, they work with the same brand.
Can learn from each other.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've learned so much from you and from other industry professionals that I've looked up to and been following for a very, very long time. Like it's people like you and people like Anastasia or people that have like really been a great mentor to me to give me advice and be like, hey, listen, I've been here for 19
generation, like just like you said, social media has been a huge emergence in the community, and I think it's really changed it for the better. But obviously, a lot of the older generation is out of touch with that, and I think that there's a lot to be learned from them, even for the working makeup artists, how they can build their brand further and still book those jobs and not have to be taken by influencers.
You have two options. You either you get with it and you
Use your social media and you work on it and you try to
Right.
become part of it.
because it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. No one has control over that. And so you either do that or you just kind of get left behind. Some of the older makeup artists have resorted to like sort of publicly bashing and shaming or
know if they work with certain clients, and I just feel like,
It's insane.
you know, for someone who has 20 plus years of experience, let's say a makeup artist, you know, to have your legacy be that you were known for bashing people and for bullying people, you know, on social media, like that's just horrible for me,
It's
and I feel
embarrassing.
bad. It's embarrassing, yeah. And so I just feel like we need to respect each other's fields and each other's jobs. And, you know, they call it the beauty community, but I feel like it needs to be more of a community.
Agreed.